We are in the chapter of Nafaqah support, and we've reached spousal support. Now, when I say spousal support, that means very specifically the husband supporting his wife. That doesn't go both ways in our religion in terms of the obligation. But the kuffar, they make it go both ways. And they make the people, yani, they don't make them, but they will consider that they merge their assets. That's amongst the things that doesn't make sense too. I don't know why do kuffar think it's a good idea that because you got married means now you all own stuff together. That's a bad idea. Anyway, so let's read the text and then we'll read the explanation, inshallah. قال Abu Shuja, Imam Abu Shuja said, وَنَفَقَةُ الزَّوْجَةِ الْمُمَكِّنَةِ مِن نَفْسِهَا واجبة. We're up here. وَنَفَقَةُ الزَّوْجَةِ الْمُمَكِّنَةِ مِن نَفْسِهَا واجبة. The support of the wife who grants access to herself. Al-mumakkinati min nafsiha. The one who makes herself available to her husband. She grants him access to her. She doesn't withhold from him. It is obligatory. So what that implies, if she withholds from him, then it's not obligatory. Or else there's no point in putting that in the definition or in the parameter. وَهِيَ مُقَدَّرَةٌ. And it is measured. Yani, the wife is the only dependent that has specifically determined, measured support due to her. Anyone else you're obligated to support, then all you have to do is fulfill their needs without any specific description. Meaning, yani, they need some clothes, you get them some clothes, and those are your clothes, unless you gave it to them. And they need some food, you feed them so they're not hungry. If they need food, doesn't mean you brought enough food for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. No. We're going to come back to the explanation, inshallah. وَهِيَ مُقَدَّرَةٌ. It is measured. فَإِنْ كَانَ الزَّوْجُ مُوسِرًا. If the husband were in easy times, he's musir. Yani, he's wealthy. فَمُدَّانِ مِنْ غَالِبِ قُوتِهَا. Then 2 muds of the dominant staple. As if it says, her dominant staple. We'll see, inshallah, in the explanation, we'll see if the explainer determines what that pronoun refers to there. Qutiha. Ha. So, فَإِنْ كَانَ الزَّوْجُ مُوسِرًا. If the husband were in easy times, means he's wealthy, فَمُدَّانِ مِنْ غَالِبِ قُوتِهَا. Then the obligation is 2 muds. 1 mud is 2 hands cupped together. 1 mud is 2 hands cupped together. So I'm going to call that a bowl, a mud bowl, or just a bowl. 2 average sized hands, 2 average hands of a man cupped together like a bowl, which I'm going to call a bowl or a mud bowl. So if he's in easy times, then the obligation is 2 bowls of, let's say right now, her dominant staple. Okay, that's all that's on this page here. Let's look in the explanation now and see what he has. The explainer says, وَذَكَرَ الْمُصَنِّفُ سَبَبَ الثَّالِثِ. The author mentions the third reason. The third reason it would be obligatory to support someone. What are those reasons? Kinship and matrimony and ownership. Kinship, ownership, and matrimony. Those are the three reasons that make you obligated to support someone: kinship, ownership, and matrimony. Now he's mentioning the third one, because you notice we didn't start at the top of the chapter here. We're continuing. في قوله, when he said, وَنَفَقَةُ الزَّوْجَةِ الْمُمَكِّنَةِ مِنْ نَفْسِهَا وَاجِبَةٌ عَلَى الزَّوْجِ. The support of the wife, or the spousal support. The wife who grants access to herself. This spousal support is obligatory on the husband. ولما اختلفت نفقة الزوجة بحسب حال الزوج بين المصنف ذلك. And since the spousal support varies in accordance with the case of the husband, because he might be rich or he might be poor, the author clarified that when he said, وَهِيَ مُقَدَّرَةٌ, her support is measured. Yani, first step here. First of all, her support is measured. The explainer is saying this is an introduction to the fact that the case of the husband varies. It is measured. فإن وفي بعض النسخ إن كان الزوج موسرا, if the husband were in easy times, ويعتبر يساره بطلوع فجر كل يوم, and his ease, this means his wealth, is regarded by the break of dawn of every day. It means at dawn, he looks into his money. Is he rich at dawn? Then he's rich for that day. That means that he has the responsibilities of a wealthy man on that day regarding his wife. فمدان من طعام واجبان عليه كل يوم مع ليلته المتأخرة عنه لزوجته. So then this wealthy man, his responsibility is 2 bowls of ta'am. Ta'am means food. But the scholars, they say ta'am, and they mean wheat. So ta'am means food. The scholars say ta'am and they mean wheat. And even if he means here wheat, that's because wheat is the best one. Not because it has to be wheat always, but it can always be wheat. It can always be wheat, not raw wheat. Why it can always be wheat? Because wheat is the superior nutrition. Yani, it's the superior cereal, let me say. Cereal means like rice, corn, these grains. So 2 bowls of food. So rice, if rice is the one, or corn, or wheat, etc. Depends on the town. Or dates, or raisins. Not raw. That means he prepares it. If it's not raw, it means cooked. Ah. So then his obligation is to provide for her cooked food. According to that, then when it became obligatory on her to cook for her husband, at what point? Never. That's Shafi'i school. Why never? Because she's not obligated to provide food for him. He's the one obligated to provide food for her prepared. Uh, Now, when we say he has to provide food for her prepared, that's from a particular perspective. Which perspective is that? That's from the perspective of the mere sacred law, according to Ash-Shafi'i. Not according to how they live in their house, how they go about things. So, if their case were that he puts food in the house, there's food in the refrigerator, the freezer, whatever, the cabinets, raw, cooked, whatever, it's there, you want to eat, go and eat. Cook it or what? I'm there, you not, whatever. So if this is how they live and that's fine, then there's no issue here. But if their case were that she said to her husband, all I want from you is exactly what the religion requires of you. This means then he has to provide her with prepared food daily. Wajibani alayhi kulla yawm. Those two bowls are obligatory on him daily. Ma'a laylatihi al-mutaakhirati anhu. Each day with the following night. Each day with the following night. So, you know, the night comes before the day religiously. Yani it'll be Friday night, then Friday, then Saturday night, then Saturday, etc. But there are some religious rules in which you're going to not look at it that way. There are some religious rules in which you're going to look at it like the day is first. So you're going to look at the day and the next night coming after that day when the sun goes down. Cause you know you're doing stuff all day. When sun goes down, you're still doing something. For example, you're still going, and then you go to sleep. Then you wake up the next day. So amongst that is the man's obligation of feeding his wife. This wealthy one has to give her two bowls for every day and night. Two bowls for every day and night, starting at the daytime. Thinking about it from the perspective of starts with daytime. Although religiously, the night comes before the day. See how that's flipping around like that? Daytime, nighttime, first, second, etc. That's how fiqh is. That's why it's so good to learn the religion. It's a blessed knowledge. And when you understand these rules in these cases, it feeds for you your comprehension and produces for you a good comprehension. So, two bowls that are obligatory on him daily, day and night, considering the day before the night, though, for his wife. Muslimatan kanat aw dhimmiyah, whether she is A Muslima, or she's Dhimmiya. Dhimmiya means she's a citizen of she's a non-Muslim citizen of a caliphate, paying the jizya. That's what they say in the books a lot. Now, another word is to say kitabiya. Kitabiya is more open. Now it means she's a Jew or a Christian, but not necessarily that she's a citizen of a caliphate. If she's a citizen of a caliphate, she's a dhimmiya. Uh, so he has to support his Muslim wife and his non-Muslim wife. حرة كانت أو رقيقة, and whether this wife of his were free or a slave. We already talked about marrying slaves. Marrying a slave. If someone were married to a slave, then it has to be someone else's slave. Yani, you cannot be married to your own slave. It's not valid. That's another way of saying you cannot own your wife. You can't be married to your slave means you cannot own your wife or your spouse. So if she is married, she's married to somebody else. So whether this wife of his were free or a slave, someone else's slave woman. وَالْمُدَّانِ مِنْ غَالِبِ قُوتِهَا وَالْمُدَّانِ مِنْ غَالِبِ قُوتِهَا. These two bowls are from her dominant staple. وَالْمُرَادُ غَالِبُ قُوتِ الْبَلَدِ. And what's meant is the dominant staple of the town. من حنطة أو شعير أو غيرهما, whether wheat or barley or something else. Barley is number 2 after wheat, and corn is number 3 in terms of superiority. حتى الأقط في أهل بادية يقتاتونه. Even some recipe made by something. It's manufactured though. This aqit, I don't remember how to talk about it, but it's not just a grain. It's something they actually make. This is valid to give as the obligatory support for the Bedouins. That means the nomads. Something they make. They take it for sustenance. Yaqutatunahu. When I say sustenance or nutrition, what this means is that it keeps the body alive. You should know that the plants that are subject to zakat, each one of them on their own is nutritious enough to sustain your life. If you just ate that plant only and drank water, for example, you will stay alive. And chance even you'll maintain your weight. These are the nutritious things. The ones that are subject to zakat. But this aqit is not subject to zakat. This is some kind of stuff they make. but it's valid. Okay. Any question? Let's look at the text again. What does Abu Shuja say, rahimahullah, at the top of the page? وَيَجِبُ مِنَ الْأُدْمِ وَالْكِسْوَةِ مَا جَرَتْ بِهِ الْعَادَةِ. And obligatory of, I'm going to say, condiment and clothing is what is normal. Condiment means, yani, the udum means what the people eat with bread. This varies with the different cultures. So means he has to get her this nutritious food daily. And also he has to get her what I'm translating as condiment, the udum. So what do people eat with bread? Maybe olive oil, maybe cheese, or something else. Like people eat mayonnaise with bread, you know. So something like this. Or butter, yani. People eat butter with bread. So obligatory of condiment, if you accept, and clothing is what is normal. Normal for the wealthy people. But not just normal for the wealthy people, normal for the wealthy, good Muslims. We're still talking about a wealthy Muslim. Normal for the wealthy, good Muslims. وَإِنْ كَانَ مُعْسِرًا. And if he were on hard times, فَمُدٌّ مِّنْ غَالِبِ قُوتِ الْبَلَدِ. Then his obligation is one bowl of the dominant nutrition of the town. وَمَا يَأْتَدِمُ بِهِ الْمُعْسِرُونَ. And what the people on hard times use as a condiment. وَيُكْسُونَ. And what they wear. وَيَكْسُونَ. وَإِنْ كَانَ مُتَوَسِّطًا. And if he were middle class, فَمُدٌّ وَنِصْفٌ. Then his obligation is a bowl and a half. وَمِنَ الْأُدْمِ وَالْكِسْوَةِ الْوَسَطُ. And concerning the condiment and the clothing, what is middle class? So we already said he checks his monetary status at dawn. Who is the wealthy one? The wealthy one is the one who has enough money for the rest of his life. Who's the poor one? The poor one is the one who doesn't have enough money for his day when you average out the year. He's the one who doesn't have enough money for his day if you average out his year. Yani, if you look at his whole year, he doesn't have enough money on a daily basis. I learned that recently, that detail there. What does that mean? Means he might one day have some money to do something. Doesn't mean he's not poor though. Hmm. And the middle class person is between those two. The explainer says, وَيَجِبُ لِلزَّوْجَةِ مِنَ الْأُدْمِ وَالْكِسْوَةِ مَا جَرَتْ بِهِ الْعَادَةِ. And obligatory for the wife of condiment and clothing is what is normal. في كل منهما. Normal in both cases. Normal for the condiment and normal for the clothing. فإن جرت عادة البلد في الأدم بزيت و وشيرج وجبن ونحوها. So if the norm of the town were that the condiment is olive oil and shayraj, I don't know what that is, and cheese and the likes of that, utubiat العادة في ذلك, then his obligation is to follow the norm in that. وإن لم يكن في البلد أدم غالب, and if the town does not have a dominant a dominant condiment, فيجب اللائق بحال الزوج, then what would be obligatory is what is befitting of the husband's status. And as if to say, he breaks her off with something, he gets her something. ويختلف الأدم باختلاف الفصول, and the condiment changes with the seasons. يعني with the seasons and the cultures. فيجب في كل فصل ما جرت به عادة الناس فيه من الأدم. And so obligatory for every season is what is normal for the people of condiment. ويجب للزوجة أيضا لحم يليق بحال زوجها. And obligatory for the wife also is meat in accordance according to what is befitting of the husband's status. When we say befitting of the status, here and elsewhere, what are we not talking about? What are we excluding? What's not befitting of someone's status? Sometimes something is too fancy. That's not befitting of his status. When it's too fancy, then it's not going to be regarded. How's it going to be too fancy? According to norm. So, like right now, what are we talking about? Let's say he's a poor man. So this poor man, he can provide his wife with lobster meat. Maybe he could buy some lobster meat. Maybe sometime. This is high though. Yani, it's fancy. Not befitting of his status of a poor person. I'm talking normally. I don't know if there's somewhere in the world where lobster meat's so easy and cheap and stuff. So, isn't it considered luxury food? That's why. So when we talk about what is befitting of someone's status, we're even excluding what's too fancy. Sometimes it's something that's below the person. For example, you cannot uh, shroud a Muslim in a potato sack, a dead Muslim. You cannot shroud a dead Muslim in a potato sack. Even though it's permissible for him to wear a potato sack while he's alive if he wants to, because it's not befitting. This one's not even in the realm of being fancy. It's too low. Also, sometimes not befitting is too high, too much, too extravagant. Keep that in mind so you can understand some rules that you'll learn, inshallah. Sometimes they say if he has a ride, that is befitting. If he has a slave, that is befitting. So فيجب للزوجة أيضا لحم يليق بحال زوجها. Also obligatory for the wife is meat befitting of the status of her husband. فإن جرت عادة البلد في الكسوة لمثل الزوج بكتان أو حرير وجب. So if the norm of the town concerning clothing for the likes of her husband were polyester, oh, maybe I'm wrong there, or silk, wajaba, then that's what's going to be obligatory. وَإِنْ كَانَ الزَّوْجُ مُعْسِرًا. So all of that was about the wealthy husband, because we started over by looking at the explanation. So the wealthy husband is going to get his wife the food of the wealthy people and the clothing of the wealthy people, and he's going to lodge her in the lodging of the wealthy people. وإن جرت عادة البلد في الكسوة read that there. وإن كان الزوج معسرا, and if the husband were on hard times. ويعتبر إعساره بطلوع فجر كل يوم, and his poverty, his being in hard time, is gauged by the break of dawn daily. فمد, then his obligation is to provide her with one bowl. أي فالواجب عليه لزوجته مد طعام من غالب قوت البلد, meaning that the obligation upon him for his wife is a bowl of food from the dominant nutrition of the town. كل يوم, daily. مع ليلته المتأخر عنه, with its night, the night of the day that comes after it, the following night, the day with the following night. Every day he says, okay, wakes up in the morning, for example, okay, it's a new day. I have to get food for my wife for today and tonight. So the day and the following night. مع ليلته المتأخر عنه وما يأتدم به المعسرون, and he has to give her what the poor people have for condiment. مما جرت به عادتهم, normally من الأدم, ويكسونه مما جرت به عادتهم من الكسوة, ويكسونه مما جرت به عادتهم من الكسوة, and he dresses her normally like the poor people, the normal poor good Muslims. How the normal, poor, good Muslims dress. وَإِنْ كَانَ الزَّوْجُ مُتَوَسِّطًا, and if the husband were middle class, ويعتبر توسطه بطلوع فجر كل يوم مع ليلته المتأخرة عنه. And his being middle class is gauged by the dawn of every day with the following night. Why he keeps repeating himself here? Because this is an explanatory book. If this were a metin, a simplified text, then he probably would try to merge more things into one sentence. So, أي فالواجب عليه لزوجته مد ونصف من طعام من غالب قوت البلد. And so the obligation upon him for his wife is a bowl and a half of food from the dominant staple of the town. ويجب لها من الأدم الوسط. And she gets the middle class condiments. ومن الكسوة الوسط. And the middle class clothing. وهو ما بين ما يجب على الموسر والمعسر. And what this is what's between what's obligatory on someone on easy times and someone on hard times. Not as much as someone in easy times, not as low as someone on hard times. I'm saying easy times and hard times, just trying to observe the literal wording. I feel like gives the presentation more flair and interest. ويجب على الزوج تمليك زوجته الطعام حبا وعليه طحنه وخبزه. Interesting. The explainer says it's obligatory on the husband to make his wife own the grains of the food. Didn't I say he gives it to her prepared? He doesn't give it to her raw. Okay. So here, the explainer has some details for us. He says it's obligatory on him to make her own the grains, and it's obligatory on him to pulverize that and bake it. So pulverize that and bake it means he gives it to her prepared, not raw. But the explainer is saying, but he has to make her own the grains, the seeds. Again, though, this is being so technical, following by the book here. What if a man and his wife said, we will just follow the very literal letter of the madhab? Okay. Or what if the husband and wife said, we can't agree on anything. We're just going to say what the religion says. So then one day he's going to say to her, here, these seeds, these are yours, okay? Okay, now I'm going to go. I'm going to go grind them up and bake it up for you. ويجب لها آلة أكل وشرب وطبخ. And also obligatory for her is the utensils for eating and drinking and cooking. ويجب لها مسكن يليق بها عادة. And also obligatory for her is a lodging that is befitting for her normally. And here's the last piece of the text of Abu Shuja before he finishes this topic. Abu Shuja says, وَإِنْ كَانَتْ مِمَّنْ يُخْدَمُ مِثْلُهَا فَعَلَيْهِ إِخْدَامُهَا. If she were someone who was served before he married her, then it's obligatory on him to get her a servant or to get her service. وَإِنْ أَعْسَرَ بِنَفَقَتِهَا فَلَهَا فَسْخُ النِّكَاحِ. And if it becomes difficult for him to support her, yani he's poor, he became poor, then she can breach the marriage. I think we're gonna have to stop here tonight. That's a lot of talk there. وكذلك إن آثر بالصداق قبل الدخول. And also, if he became unable to give her dowry before consummation, it was due before consummation, and he didn't pay it yet, and they didn't consummate yet, then she can break the marriage. And he became unable to, not just because he didn't. He became unable to, then she can break the marriage. Let's stop here. We're already about to be overtime anyway. And we'll take our time with some of these cases here. This one's a very delicate case and needed to be known though, which is if it becomes difficult for him to support her, then she can breach the marriage. We'll see. Any question?
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
What was the three people you said you obligated to support? I know one was marriage, kinship. What was the third one?
Not three people, three reasons.
Okay.
The three reasons one would be obligated to support someone are kinship, blood relation, ownership, yani a slave, and matrimony, yani supporting the wife.
The ownership, that's all I was looking for. Thank you.
طيب بارك الله فيكم.